Hello, I wanted to share with you all a thing or two that I've learned about these SRAM AXS or eTap batteries, and in particular the broken tabs that they seem to be a little bit prone to. I personally haven't had any issues with my batteries, but I had a friend come to me a couple of weeks ago with a big pile of these and basically saying she's had this problem where the tabs keep breaking off her batteries. Inside this is just a very stock standard lithium-ion cell, which should cost like $5 or maybe $20 if it's going to have a nice brand on it, like a GoPro branded battery or something like that. SRAM, unfortunately, like to screw their customers over and charge $100 for replacement batteries. And so she's ended up with 4 of these batteries, and all but one of them has broken tabs. So it's 3 broken tabs, $300 of batteries that she would need to chuck out if we can't fix them. So I did a little bit of Googling, did some searching on YouTube for some suggestions, because seems to be a fairly common problem. Other people have tried fixing this. And I thought I'd start by telling you what didn't work. The first thing that we tried was to build a tab backup using 2-part epoxy. So what I initially did, I put globs on 3 of the batteries. So that's just a 2-part epoxy, which everyone else seems to have suggested. I put a big glob on, and then I spent about half an hour with my Dremel tool, cutting and sanding, carving that down to the perfect shape so that it was exactly like one of these. And then I stuck it back on the derailleur, and fairly quickly the new tab that I'd carved and built up for that snapped off. In fact, you can see it here. That's what I came up with, is actually a perfectly carved, perfectly shaped tab. And I suppose that makes sense, because if you think about it, if a tab that size and shape that's actually part of the original plastic doesn't have the strength to stay on, then something made out of 2-part epoxy, if it's going to have the same contact area, same surface area, it's not going to stay on either. So that was made out of JB Weld, by the way. So look, thanks to people who've tried suggesting repairs like that, it's a good idea, but it's just not going to have the same strength. Then I came across some other videos from others who have used metal tape to build a new metal tab, and that's the route that I went down. I had a fair bit of trouble finding some suitable metal for this. That tab is exactly 10 millimeters wide, and what I ended up with is, at Bunnings, a stainless steel band clamp that cost $1. It's stainless steel, so it's not going to corrode from your derailleur getting wet, and it's just the right thickness. It's 10 millimeters wide. It's probably a little bit less than 1 millimeter thick. Being stainless steel, it's pretty tough. It's not going to flex once you've shaped it to how you want it. So this is what I've come up with so far. What I did was I actually took a hacksaw. Sounds dangerous. You want to be a little bit careful taking a hacksaw or any kind of cutting tool to a lithium-ion battery. But luckily these batteries have a really big, thick case around them. And so using a hacksaw to cut the edges, and then a chisel to chisel out the gap between the edges, managed to make a groove 1 millimeter deep and 10 millimeters wide for a piece of that band clamp. And I've just used my trusty Dremel tool to cut the band clamp to length, and just a pair of pliers to shape it. And then I've glued that in place just with some All-Fix, just sort of some fairly basic craft glue. What I think I might do, just so it looks prettier and to keep it, make sure it really doesn't come off, is go back to that 2-part epoxy and put a layer of epoxy over the top, the JB Weld, so that will actually have sort of a nice grey plastic coating on it. That's the grey JB Weld there. So that will probably make it look a lot prettier, but I have already put that in the derailleur just like that, and it works fine. So that is a successful repair, and it saved my poor friend another $100 on another shit battery that probably just would have broken again anyway. She has a very early version of eTap, and I suspect there might have just been a design fault or something in the actual design of the derailleur, in that it keeps chewing through batteries, but that metal tab is not going to break off. One thing to be mindful of is that when you make one of theirs with the metal tab, just make sure the metal tab isn't too long for the charger. It can be quite long to fit in the derailleur. It doesn't matter because it goes through a hole in the derailleur, or a slot, so it can be quite long. But the issue that you can have is then if you go and put that in your charger, if the tab's too long, it won't fit. But that fits beautifully, and it fits beautifully on the bike, and the derailleur functions perfectly too. So that's my suggestion. Bunnings band clamp, Dremel tool, just a fine hacksaw blade and a narrow chisel to just scrape the plastic out of there so that you've got so you can get it all nice and flush. And some JB Weld over the top should make that look all nice and pretty, and return it to something functional and nice looking for her bike. I've just got to do 2 more batteries.